Elara had always heard the world differently. Not with her ears, not entirely, but with a deeper, quieter sense. A hum in the very air she breathed. In the Vale of Lumina, where ancient trees touched the clouds and rivers sang lullabies to stones, this wasn't entirely unusual. Every child learned to listen to the rustle of the wind weavers through the canopy, the slow, rhythmic beat of the earth heart beneath the moss, and the tiny crystalline chime of the dream lilies as they unfurled their petals at dusk. But Elara heard more. She heard Ing whispering. It was a sound like spun starlight catching on a spiderweb, a melody almost too delicate to perceive, shimmering at the edge of hearing. For most, it was a forgotten echo, a myth whispered in the oldest tales. For Elara, with her twilight moss eyes and hair like spun moonbeams, it was a constant, gentle companion, a faint, longing sigh that seemed to emanate from the very fabric of the world. Today, however, the whispering was different. It wasn't the usual soft thrum, the gentle insistence of growing things. It was clearer, more urgent, like a forgotten name suddenly remembered. It tugged at her, a silken thread pulling her attention away from the iridescent scales of the sun moths dancing through the morning light that filtered into her small, cozy cottage. Her grandmother, Lyra, a woman whose laugh sounded like wind chimes, and whose fingers knew the secret language of herbs, noticed Elara's distant gaze. "The whispering is strong today, little dewdrop," she asked, her voice soft as the down of a slumber bird. Lyra was one of the few who truly understood Elara's unique gift, for she, too, had heard the whispering in her youth, though never with Elara's clarity. Elara nodded, her brow furrowed in concentration. "It feels like a question, grandmother, or a memory trying to surface. It's coming from the Whispering Woods, deeper than usual." The Whispering Woods were not far from their cottage, a dense, ancient forest known for its colossal heartwood trees, whose roots delved so deep they were said to touch the world's slumbering core. Legend had it that the Whispering Woods were the oldest part of the Vale, a place where magic lingered thick and potent, and where the first songs of creation were sung. Most folk ventured only to its edges, gathering medicinal herbs or rare moonberries, but few dared to journey deep. The woods were not dangerous, not truly, but they were old, and the weight of their years could feel heavy on the spirit. "The heartwood trees have long memories," Lyra mused, stirring a fragrant tea of calming rivermint and energizing sunpetal. The steam rose in delicate spirals, catching the light and shimmering with faint, residual magic. "Perhaps they are calling to you." Elara felt a thrill, a mix of apprehension and eager curiosity. She had always felt a pull towards the deeper parts of the woods, a sense that something significant awaited her there. "May I go, grandmother?" Lyra smiled, a warmth that chased away any shadows. "You always do, my heart. Just remember the old ways. Listen with your spirit, walk with respect, and never take more than the forest freely offers." She pressed a small, smooth riverstone into Elara's hand. It was an ancient charm, cool and comforting against her palm. "For safekeeping, and take a pouch of glow moss. The deeper paths can grow dim, even with the sun moths." Elara tucked the charm into her pocket, and the small bag of luminous moss into her satchel. She kissed her grandmother's cheek, the scent of earth and herbs clinging to the elder's soft skin. "I'll be careful, I always am." Stepping out of the cottage, Elara breathed in the morning air, thick with the scent of damp earth, blooming night jasmines, and the distant, sweet aroma of honey blossoms. The Vale of Lumina was a tapestry of greens and golds, where every leaf seemed to hold a drop of morning dew, refracting the sunlight into 1,000 tiny rainbows. Sparkling dew gems clung to the gossamer threads spun by the star weavers, shimmering like scattered constellations. She followed the winding path, her light steps barely disturbing the mossy ground. The whispering grew stronger with every step, a soft symphony of almost sounds. She heard the deep, rumbling song of the ancient roots beneath her feet, the faint, shimmering laughter of water spirits in a nearby brook, and the slow, deliberate rhythm of the sap rising in the trees. These were the everyday wonders of the Vale, but interwoven with them now was the insistent, yearning quality of the whispering. As she entered the Whispering Woods, the world shifted. The sunlight, once bright and open, became dappled and emerald-tinted, filtered through layers of ancient leaves. The air grew cooler, carrying the scent of rich soil and something else, something old and sweet, like dried honey, and forgotten dreams. The trees here were unlike any she had seen on the edges of the vale. Their trunks were wider than 5 children holding hands, their bark etched with patterns that seemed to tell stories of millennia. Lumina vines, thick as her arm, draped from the branches, their leaves glowing with a soft internal light, illuminating the paths like scattered moonbeams. Elara let the whispering guide her. Manda. It wasn't a voice, but a feeling, a gentle pull towards a specific direction, a subtle shift in the air's vibrations. It felt like the forest itself was leaning in, trying to communicate. She passed a grove of silent bells, their bell-shaped flowers hanging heavy and still, their usual chiming suppressed, as if listening intently. Further on, a stream of silver water flowed over smooth, polished stones, its surface shimmering with soft light, not reflecting the sun, but emanating its own gentle glow. Elara paused, scooping a handful of the cool, sweet water. It tasted of earth and stars, refreshing her with a subtle, invigorating energy. The whispering drew her deeper, past familiar landmarks she had only ever seen from the periphery. She saw trees whose branches reached not only upwards but downwards, their tips brushing the mossy ground, creating intricate living arches. She saw roots that rose from the earth like sleeping giants, their surfaces covered in velvet moss and tiny star-shaped fungi that pulsed with a faint blue light. The further she went, the more ancient the forest felt. The sounds of the outside world faded entirely, replaced by the symphony of the woods, the rustle of unseen creatures, the drip of dew from high leaves, and the ever-present, growing insistence of the whispering. It felt like a lament now, a sorrowful, beautiful melody. Suddenly, the path narrowed, leading her into a dense thicket of lumina vines. They were so intertwined that they formed a living wall, their soft glow illuminating a small opening, barely wide enough for Elara to squeeze through. The whispering pulsed with a new intensity here, like a heartbeat. Taking a deep breath, Elara pushed through the vines. She emerged into a clearing she had never seen before, a hidden heart within the ancient forest. This clearing was different from any other place in the vale. The trees here were truly immense, their canopies so vast they blotted out the sky, creating an eternal twilight. The air was thick with ancient magic, almost tangible, shimmering like heat haze over a summer field. In the center of the clearing stood a single colossal tree, far larger than any she had ever imagined. Its trunk was gnarled and scarred, a testament to countless centuries, its bark a tapestry of deep greens and browns, shot through with veins of glowing golden light. This was a true heartwood tree, one of the legendary ancients. Around its base, where the roots spread out like the arms of a sleeping titan, grew a carpet of flowers Elara had never encountered. They were a deep, velvety blue, almost black, their petals unfurling in slow, deliberate movements. Each flower held a single, teardrop-shaped luminescence at its core, pulsing softly, mirroring the beat of the whispering. These weren't dream lilies or night jasmines. These were something else entirely. As Elara stepped closer, the ground beneath her feet felt softer, richer, as if she were walking on velvet. The air thrummed, and the whispering was no longer a distant melody, but a presence, surrounding her, flowing into her. It felt like 1,000 voices speaking at once, yet it was not chaotic. It was a single unified song of profound sorrow and desperate hope. She noticed something nestled amongst the roots of the colossal heartwood tree, half hidden by the blue luminous flowers. It was a stone, but unlike any she had ever seen. It was roughly oval, the size of her hand, and it glowed with a faint internal light, a soft silvery pulse that seemed to beat in time with the whispering. Its surface wasn't smooth like riverstone, but etched with intricate swirling patterns almost like writing, but not quite. They seemed to shift and change subtly as she watched. Curiosity overriding caution, Elara knelt, gently pushing aside the luminous blue flowers. Her fingers brushed the surface of the stone. It was cool to the touch, and as she made contact, a surge of energy flowed through her, not overwhelming, but profound. It was as if 1,000 years of memories, 1,000 forgotten songs, suddenly resonated within her. The whispering surged, becoming a clear, distinct sound within her mind, not just a hum in the air. It wasn't a language she knew, yet she understood it. It was a story, a lament, a plea. Oh, waken, we fade. The light grows dim, the song is broken. The words, or rather, The feelings that translated into words were imbued with an ancient sorrow. Elara felt tears prick at her eyes, a deep empathy rising within her. The whispering was not just a sound. It was the voice of the forest, the voice of the land itself, and it was in pain. As she held the glowing stone, the light within it brightened slightly, pulsating with a renewed vigor. The blue flowers around it seemed to open a fraction more, their internal luminances growing warmer. Then, a new sensation. A faint, almost imperceptible warmth began to spread from the stone, not just into her hand, but outwards, across the clearing. The air around her shimmered with soft golden motes of light, dancing like tiny ephemeral fireflies. From the deepest shadows beneath the heartwood tree, where the ancient roots formed a natural cavern, a pair of eyes opened. They were large, luminous, and the color of polished amber. A creature stirred, slowly, gracefully, emerging from the shadows. It was unlike anything Elara had ever seen, even in the oldest lore books. It was slender and elegant, with fur the color of twilight gray, dappled with patches of iridescent moss that glowed with the same soft green as the lumina vines. Its ears were long and delicate, tipped with tiny silver tassels that swayed with its every movement. Its tail was long and plumed, like a feather woven from moonlight. It moved with an ethereal grace, silent as a falling leaf. It was a whispering fox, a creature thought to exist only in the most ancient of legends, a guardian of the deep forest, rarely, if ever, seen by mortal eyes. Its amber gaze fixed on Elara, not with fear or aggression, but with an ancient wisdom and a profound sense of recognition. The whispering fox approached her slowly, its steps silent on the mossy ground. It stopped a few feet away, its head cocked, its eyes studying her, then the glowing stone in her hand. A low, soft trill, like the sound of wind chimes in a gentle breeze, emanated from its throat. It was a sound that resonated with the whispering. Elara, mesmerized, extended her hand, still holding the glowing stone. The whispering fox watched her, then slowly, cautiously, it lowered its head and gently nudged the stone with its nose. As it did, a wave of warmth spread from the stone, and the intricate patterns on its surface seemed to glow brighter, the lines shifting and reforming into new complex designs. The whispering fox let out another soft trill, this one imbued with a sense of relief, almost gratitude. It turned its head, looking towards the deepest, darkest part of the heartwood tree's roots, where the cavern-like opening was. Then it looked back at Elara, its amber eyes conveying a clear message. "I follow. I knew a muntigal. Dana set in it as again." Elara felt no fear, only a deep sense of purpose. The whispering, which had been a plea, now felt like a guide, a promise. She had found something important, something ancient and powerful, and the whispering fox, a creature of legend, was inviting her deeper into the heart of the mystery. This was only the beginning. Elara followed. The whispering fox, a shadow woven from moonlight and ancient secrets, moved with an ethereal grace, its paws making no sound on the moss-draped roots that formed the entrance to the cavern. The air grew cooler, carrying the scent of damp earth and something else, something sweet and green, like sap mingled with starlight. The opening was not a mere hole, but a grand arched entryway, carved not by hands but by the patient, powerful growth of the heartwood itself. Roots, thick as ancient oak trunks, intertwined to form a living archway, their bark smooth and dark, interspersed with patches of bioluminescent moss that pulsed with a soft, emerald glow. This verdant light cast shifting patterns on the cavern floor, revealing it to be a descent of natural worn steps, each one polished by countless centuries of passage. As Elara stepped beneath the living arch, the world above seemed to melt away. The sounds of the forest, the rustle of leaves, the distant call of an owl, faded into a profound, echoing silence, broken only by the drip of water from unseen crevices and the subtle rhythmic pulse of the whispering, which here was no longer a distant murmur, but a vibrant hum, resonating through the very stones beneath her feet. It was a song, wordless and deep, a melody of life and memory. The whispering fox paused, looking back again, its amber eyes now glowing with an inner light that seemed to draw Elara deeper into its gaze. It flicked an ear, then continued its descent, its bushy tail a beacon in the shifting green twilight. Elara followed, her hand occasionally brushing against the cool, smooth surface of a root, feeling the ancient life force thrumming within. The passage spiraled downwards, widening gradually. The bioluminescent moss grew thicker here, painting intricate frescoes of light on the cavern walls. Fungi bloomed in delicate, otherworldly clusters, some like tiny, glowing lanterns, others like shimmering, translucent shelves. The air grew warmer, infused with that unique sweet green aroma, as if she were descending into the very heart of spring. Finally, the tunnel opened into a vast, breathtaking chamber. Elara gasped. A silent breath caught in her throat. This was not merely a cavern, it was a cathedral carved by time and magic. The ceiling soared far above, lost in shadows, but the walls and floor were alive with light. Rivers of glowing fungi traced ancient patterns across the rock, converging towards the center of the chamber, where the heartwood's true essence resided. And there it was. At the very heart of the chamber, cradled within a massive root-lined depression, pulsed a phenomenon that defied easy description. It was not a crystal, nor a pool, nor a simple tree core. It was a living nexus of light and energy, a shimmering sphere of liquid starlight, contained within a lattice of the oldest, most gnarled roots. These roots, thick as the heartwood's trunk above ground, writhed and intertwined around the sphere, not imprisoning it, but rather sustaining it, channeling its immense power. The sphere itself was a kaleidoscope of soft, shifting colors: emerald green, sapphire blue, amethyst purple, and a shimmering gold, all flowing into and out of each other in a slow, hypnotic dance. Within its depths, Elara could discern faint, ethereal patterns, like swirling galaxies or ancient runes etched in pure light. This was the source of the whispering, and here, in its presence, the hum was a resonant chorus, 1,000 voices woven into one magnificent symphony that filled the chamber, vibrating through her bones, her very soul. The whispering fox padded softly towards this radiant heart, its movements reverent. It stopped a short distance away, sitting on its haunches, its gaze fixed on the glowing sphere. Elara approached more slowly, her steps hesitant, as if walking into a dream. The air around the sphere felt thick with magic, a palpable warmth that radiated outwards, gentle and comforting. As she drew closer, the whispering intensified, not as a sound in her ears, but as a direct communion within her mind. Images bloomed before her inner eye, vast ancient forests stretching across forgotten lands, towering trees reaching for suns that now shone on different worlds, the slow, deliberate pulse of life across millennia. She saw roots, not just of this heartwood, but of countless others, stretching beneath the earth, forming an intricate, unseen web that connected all living things, all places of power. This was the great root network, the heartwood's true body, its consciousness. This specific heartwood, the one above them, was merely a single vital node in a grander interconnected system. The whispering was not just a message from Ithistri, but a collective echo from the entire network, a vast consciousness speaking through its closest, most vibrant heart. "Welcome, listener," the whispering sang within her mind, a voice made of 1,000,000 rustling leaves, 1,000 flowing rivers, the deep rumble of earth itself. It was gentle, infinitely wise, and imbued with an ancient sorrow. "You have answered the call. You have found the way." Elara stood before the sphere, mesmerized. She stretched out a hand drawn by an irresistible force, but stopped short of touching it. What is this place?" she whispered, her voice barely audible even to herself. "What is the whispering?" The sphere pulsed, and the images in her mind sharpened. She saw the network, vibrant and alive, like glowing veins beneath the skin of the world. But then, shadows began to creep in. Not physical shadows, but a sense of fading, of growing silence. Great sections of the network flickered, dimmed, went dark. The vibrant green of life began to be replaced by a chilling gray, a creeping stillness. "We are the memory of the world, the breath of life, the song of the earth," the whispering communicated. "We bind the living, sustain the magic, remember the forgotten. But we are fading. The silence grows." Elara felt a pang of profound sadness, a shared grief that was not her own, yet resonated deeply within her. "Fading? Why?" "The world forgets," the whispering responded, a sigh carried on the magical currents. "The balance shifts, the old ways are forsaken, The threads of connection, once vibrant and strong, are frayed by indifference, by discord, by the turning of the ages. Magic wanes where belief falters. Life dims where connection is lost. The heartwood network grows quiet, and with its silence, the world itself begins to forget how to dream. Elara understood then. The whispering wasn't a plea for help in the traditional sense, but a plea for remembrancy, for reconnection. It wasn't just physical damage, it was a spiritual erosion. The network wasn't being attacked. It was slowly starving from lack of nourishment, the nourishment of wonder, of harmony, of respect for the natural world and its inherent magic. "We have sought a listener for many cycles," the whispering continued. "One who can hear beyond the din, who can feel the pulse of the world, who holds the spark of true connection within their heart. You, Elara, are that listener. Your spirit resonates with the ancient song. You are a bridge." As it spoke, the whispering fox rose and moved closer to Elara, nudging her hand gently with its nose. Its fur felt impossibly soft, like spun moonlight. Its eyes met hers, and in their depths, she saw not just wisdom, but a profound hope. "A bridge?" Elara repeated, looking from the fox to the shimmering heart. The weight of the revelation settled upon her, not as a burden, but as a profound sense of destiny. "What am I to do?" "You must reawaken the song." The heartwood's voice resonated. "You must remind the world how to listen. You must seek out the other hearts, the other nodes in the great network, and help them rekindle their light. Each heartwood holds a unique memory, a unique power, a unique aspect of the balance. As you awaken them, you will weave the threads, mend the connections, and restore the flow of magic to the world." The sphere pulsed with renewed intensity, and a single luminous tendril of light detached itself, slowly drifting towards Elara. It was a filament of pure magic, shimmering with all the colors of the heartwood's core. It danced in the air before her, warm and inviting. "This is a seed of our essence, a fragment of the whispering itself," the voice explained. "It will bond with you, Elara. It will grant you not merely the ability to hear our song, but to understand its deepest meanings, to feel the connections between all things. It will guide you, protect you, and empower you on your journey. It is a promise and a responsibility." Elara felt no hesitation. The fear and uncertainty she might have felt vanished, replaced by an overwhelming sense of clarity and purpose. This was what she had sought, though she hadn't known it. This was why she had always felt a yearning for something more, a deeper truth hidden beneath the surface of the ordinary. She extended her hand, palm open, towards the shimmering filament. As her fingers met the light, it did not feel hot or cold, but rather like a breath of pure life. It flowed into her, not through her skin, but directly into her spirit, a gentle warmth that spread from her palm throughout her entire being. She felt a connection bloom within her, like 1,000 tiny roots unfurling, reaching out, sensing the world in a way she never had before. The subtle hum of the heartwood network, once a distant plea, now felt like a living part of her, a silent chorus always present. A wave of knowledge, ancient and vast, washed over her. Not words, but pure understanding. She saw the intricate patterns of wind and water, the hidden conversations between trees, the slow, deliberate march of geological time. She felt the joy of a sprouting seed, the sorrow of a falling leaf, the patient wisdom of stone. It was as if the world had suddenly unfolded its deepest secrets to her, and she was fluent in its silent language. Her vision seemed to sharpen, not just in her eyes, but in her mind. She could almost perceive the faint, glowing lines of the great root network stretching outwards from the heartwood, like a subtle energy map beneath the earth. The fading sections were visible now like dull scars on an otherwise vibrant tapestry. When the light had fully integrated within her, Elara felt profoundly changed. She was still Elara, yet she was more. The whispering was no longer just an external voice. It was an internal resonance, a constant companion. The little girl who had followed a mysterious fox into the woods was now something else entirely. A listener, a bridge, a guardian of the heartwood. The whispering fox nuzzled her hand again, a soft whine escaping its throat, a sound of contentment. It then turned its head towards one of the cavern walls where a faint, shimmering portal, previously unseen, now pulsed with a soft, inviting light. It was a doorway woven from pure energy, framed by ancient roots that seemed to twist and coil like sentinels. The path awaits, listener, the heartwood communicated. The first heart calls to you, a distant echo from the whispering, fainter than ours, yet persistent. It lies far from here, beyond the familiar forests, in the forgotten lands where the mountains kiss the sky. The fox will guide you. It is a manifestation of our will, a fragment of our watchful consciousness, always there to lead the way. Elara looked at the glowing portal, then back at the magnificent pulsating heart of the heartwood. The task ahead was immense, daunting, yet she felt a thrilling sense of purpose. The world was vast, filled with wonders and mysteries she had only just begun to glimpse. She had a guide, a gift, and a mission that resonated with the deepest stirrings of her soul. She smiled, a genuine joyful smile that lit up her face in the soft green glow of the cavern. "I understand," she said, her voice clear and strong, imbued with a newfound confidence. "I will go, I will listen, I will rekindle the song." The whispering fox turned and trotted towards the portal, its tail held high, its amber eyes gleaming with anticipation. Elara took one last look at the heart of the heartwood, feeling its silent gratitude, its immense hope. Then, with a deep breath, she followed her guide, stepping through the shimmering veil of light, ready to embrace whatever wonders and challenges awaited her in the world beyond. Her journey had truly just begun. The shimmering veil of light embraced Elara, not with a jolt, but with a sensation akin to falling through a dream. Colors swirled around her, not harsh, but soft, pastel hues blending into nebulae of violet, rose, and gold. She felt a momentary lightness, as if her feet had forgotten the pull of the earth, and then a profound stillness, deeper than any silence she had known in the heartwood. It was a silence that hummed, a quiet that resonated with a distant, almost forgotten melody. A scent, clean and crisp like mountain air after a spring rain, yet sweet with an unknown floral essence, filled her lungs. Then, just as gently as it had begun, the transition ended. She stepped out onto a surface that felt solid beneath her boots, yet radiated a cool, gentle energy. Her eyes, adjusting from the kaleidoscopic journey, beheld a world of breathtaking wonder. They stood on a vast, flat expanse of what appeared to be polished crystal, though it shimmered with an inner light that shifted and pulsed, mirroring the sky above. But this was no ordinary sky. Above them, and stretching as far as the eye could see, were islands. Not islands of earth and rock, but colossal formations of luminous crystal, some towering into needle-like spires, others broad and flat like floating meadows, all suspended in the vast open air. Bridges, woven from what looked like solidified starlight, arced gracefully between these ethereal landmasses, glinting with a soft ethereal glow. The air itself seemed to sing, not with an audible sound, but with a delicate vibration that tingled on her skin, a subtle thrum that promised magic in every breath. Strange, delicate flora grew in luminous gardens on the crystal islands, trees with leaves of iridescent glass, flowers that bloomed with silent light, and moss that pulsed with a soft internal rhythm. Creatures unlike any she had ever seen drifted gracefully through the air, some like iridescent fish swimming through an invisible current, others with wings of pure energy, leaving trails of shimmering dust in their wake. "Welcome, Elara." The whispering fox's voice was a soft murmur, barely audible over the silent symphony of the new world. "To the Ethereum spires." Elara could only nod, her breath caught in her throat. The heartwood was ancient, rooted, a place of deep, silent wisdom. This place was different, vibrant, airy, a tapestry woven from light and ethereal energy. Yet, despite its overwhelming beauty, she sensed a subtle disquiet. The silent hum, though present, felt incomplete, like a magnificent instrument missing a vital string. "It is beautiful," she whispered, her voice feeling small in the vastness. The fox turned its head, its amber eyes sweeping across the crystalline landscape. "It voici morzo. This world, as you perceive it, is a shadow of its former glory. Its true song has faded." He trotted forward, his paws making no sound on the crystal surface, and Elara followed, her gaze constantly drawn upwards to the floating islands. As they moved, she began to notice what the fox meant. Some of the crystal flora, though still beautiful, seemed muted, their inner light dimmer. A few of the bridges of starlight flickered erratically, as if struggling to maintain their form. And the creatures, while graceful, moved with a certain languor, their iridescent colors not quite as brilliant as she imagined they could be. The air, though still vibrant, lacked a certain resonance. They walked for what felt like an age, crossing a wide, flat island that served as a central hub, its surface engraved with intricate patterns that seemed to trace the currents of the air itself. Eventually, the fox led her to a narrow, winding path that ascended towards one of the taller, more intricate spires. This spire was a marvel of natural architecture, composed of countless crystalline facets that seemed designed to catch and refract light. As they drew closer, Elara saw that nestled within its folds were what appeared to be enormous chimes, crafted from various sizes and colors of crystal. These chimes hung suspended from delicate strands of woven light, each one perfectly formed, gleaming with an inner luminescence. But they were silent. Not just quiet, but utterly, profoundly silent. There was no gentle tinkling, no deep resonance, no ethereal melody. They merely hung, beautiful but inert, like silent bells in a forgotten tower. This, the fox indicated with a flick of his nose, is the chime garden. Once it sang with the collective voice of the Ethereum. Every breeze, every shift in the light, every thought of the skyweavers would coax a new harmony from these crystals. Now, only the wind sighs through them. Elara reached out, her fingers hovering near a particularly large rose-colored chime. She felt a faint coolness radiating from it, and a deep, almost painful stillness. It was as if the chime held the memory of sound but could no longer produce it. Her heart ached with a familiar pang, the same one she felt when touching the silent heartwood, a sense of immense potential lying dormant, waiting to be awakened. "What happened to the song?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. Just then, a faint rustling sound, like dry leaves skittering across crystal, drew their attention. From behind a cluster of shimmering, willow-like crystal trees emerged a figure. It was tall and slender, its form appearing to be woven from threads of mist and starlight. Its skin glowed with a soft, milky luminescence, and its eyes, deep pools of indigo, held an ancient weariness. Long, flowing hair, like spun moonlight, cascaded down its back, adorned with delicate crystal beads that did not chime. It wore a simple, flowing gown that seemed to shift with the ambient light. "Silence," the figure spoke, its voice a soft, melancholic echo like a distant whisper carried on the wind. "A long, slow silence, child, a forgetting." The whispering fox dipped its head respectfully. "Lyra, we have brought her, the one the heartwood sent." Lyra's indigo eyes fixed upon Elara, piercing her with a gaze that seemed to see not just her outward form, but the very pulse of her spirit. "So, the heartwood has finally stirred. A human child from the silent forest to rekindle the song of the Ethereum. It is a strange choice, little one." Elara felt a flush of nervousness, but she met Lyra's gaze steadily. "I was told the heartwood needs its song back, and that the song of my world is connected to yours. I wish to help." A faint, almost imperceptible smile touched Lyra's lips. "Indeed, they are intertwined. The heartwood's silent pulse is the deep bass note, the foundation. The Ethereum's song is the soaring melody, the vibrant harmony that dances above it. When one falters, the other grows weak. For generations the song here has dimmed. The sky weavers, the ancient caretakers of the spires, grew distant, lost their way, or simply forgot how to listen. The great chime of resonances, the heart of our song, fell silent." Elara looked around, seeing the beauty of the place, but now also perceiving the underlying fragility. The silent chimes, the flickering bridges, the muted glow, they were all symptoms of a world slowly losing its magic, its very existence threatened. "How do we bring it back?" Elara asked, her voice filled with a quiet determination. "How do we rekindle the song?" Lyra gestured towards the silent chime garden. "The song is not merely sound, child. It is the resonance of life, the harmony between all things. It is the understanding that every crystal, every creature, every breath of air has its own unique vibration, its own note. When these notes align, when these sing together in perfect accord, that is the true song of the Ethereum. For too long, the individual notes have forgotten how to listen to one another, how to harmonize. You, Elara, come from a world of profound listening, of silent communion. Perhaps that is why the heartwood chose you. You must learn to hear the silent notes, to feel the vibrations that still linger, however faintly, in these crystals. You must attune yourself to their individual voices. and help them remember the grand symphony they once formed. Lyra approached a small, unassuming crystal chime, no larger than Elara's hand, hanging from a delicate thread of light. It was a pale, almost milky white, and utterly inert. This is a lullaby chime. It once sang gentle melodies to the cloud children, soothing them with its soft hum. Now it is merely a pretty stone. Can I try? Elara asked, her curiosity overriding her apprehension. Lyra nodded, a glimmer of hope in her ancient eyes. Place your hand upon it, child. Do not try to make it sing with force. Listen, feel, seek its unique vibration. Seek its silent note. Elara extended her hand, her fingers trembling slightly, and gently placed her palm against the cool, smooth surface of the lullaby chime. It felt cold and lifeless. She closed her eyes, drawing upon the lessons she had learned in the heartwood. She remembered the feeling of the ancient roots beneath her feet, the silent pulse of life that flowed through the trees, the gentle murmur of the river that spoke without words. She pushed away the desire for an audible sound, and instead focused on feeling the essence of the crystal. At first, there was nothing. Just the cool, smooth surface. But Elara persisted, emptying her mind, letting her spirit reach out, much like she had learned to do when communing with the heartwood's silent wisdom. She felt for an echo, a memory, a ghost of a vibration. She imagined the chime filled with light, filled with sound, filled with life. She thought of a soft, comforting lullaby. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, a change began. A faint warmth bloomed beneath her palm, spreading from the crystal into her hand. Then, a delicate thrum, so subtle it was more a feeling than a sound, began to resonate within the chime. It was like the gentle beat of a sleeping heart, a low, steady pulse. Elara opened her eyes. The milky white chime now glowed with a faint internal luminescence, a soft, pearly light that pulsed in time with the silent thrum. And then, a sound. Not a loud chime, but a single pure note, so soft it barely registered as a whisper, yet utterly clear and beautiful. It was a note of gentle comfort, of quiet peace, exactly like a lullaby hummed to a sleeping child. The whispering fox let out a soft whimper of surprise and delight, its tail giving a quick, happy wag. Lyra's eyes, once weary, now shone with a renewed light. A faint, almost forgotten smile touched her lips, wider this time. Remarkable, Lyra breathed, her voice filled with awe. Truly remarkable. You have found its silent note, Elara. You have coaxed it to remember its voice. The lullaby chime continued to hum softly, its pearly glow casting a gentle light on Elara's face. The single, pure note resonated in the air, a tiny beacon of sound in the vast silence. It felt like a small victory, a tiny spark in a vast darkness. This is just one chime, Elara said, looking around at the thousands of silent crystals in the garden. There are so many more. Lyra nodded, her gaze sweeping across the garden, then upwards towards the distant, silent peaks. Indeed, and the lullaby chime is but a single note in the great symphony. The heartwood's pulse is the deep rhythm that underpins all life, and the ethereum's song is the intricate melody that brings it joy and vibrancy. To fully rekindle the song, we must awaken the great resonator, the heart of all these chimes, the source of the ethereum's very being. She pointed a shimmering finger towards the highest, most distant spire, one that seemed to pierce the very fabric of the sky, its peak lost amidst swirling, luminous clouds. It was far grander, more imposing, and utterly silent. The great resonator lies at the summit of the celestial spire, highest of all the Ethereum islands. It is a place of powerful magic and many challenges. To reach it, and to awaken it, will require more than just finding a single note. It will require more than just finding a single note. It will require understanding the full harmony, the symphony of our world. But you, Elara, have taken the first, most vital step. You have shown us that the song can still be found. You have brought back a flicker of hope. Elara looked from the small, humming lullaby chime to the impossibly distant celestial spire. A sense of immense responsibility settled upon her, but also a growing excitement. She had felt the first stirrings of the Ethereum's magic, and it was unlike anything she had ever known. She had made a crystal sing not with her voice but with her spirit. And I will go, Elara said, her voice firm, her resolve strengthened by the small chime's gentle hum. I will learn to hear the silent notes. I will reach the celestial spire. I will rekindle the great resonator. The whispering fox nudged her hand, its soft fur brushing her fingers, a silent message of encouragement. Lyra smiled, a genuine, hopeful smile that lit up her ancient eyes. The single, pure note of the lullaby chime continued its gentle, unwavering song, a promise that the melody, though long faded, was not forgotten, and that the symphony was waiting to be played anew. Elara's journey through the Ethereum spires had truly just begun. Elara's journey through the Ethereum spires had truly just begun. With a deep breath that tasted of ancient starlight, and the faint, sweet scent of lingering magic, Elara stepped onto the winding path that led higher into the Ethereum. The whispering fox trotted ahead, its luminous tail a gentle beacon in the deepening twilight that clung to the lower spires. The lullaby chime, a warm weight against her chest, pulsed with a rhythm that mirrored her own hopeful heartbeat. The first stretch of their climb took them through the fading groves, a sorrowful testament to the symphony's silence. Trees, once vibrant with glowing leaves and blossoming light flowers, now stood skeletal and dim, their branches reaching like withered fingers towards a distant, indifferent sky. Their Ethereum sap, meant to flow like liquid starlight, had congealed into dull, brittle amber. The air here was heavy with a quiet grief, the whispers of forgotten melodies carried on a languid breeze. As they ascended, the path grew steeper, winding around the base of colossal crystal formations that pierced the clouds like frozen lightning. These were the echoing peaks, where once, the lightest whisper would rebound for miles, carrying messages across the Ethereum. Now, only a faint hollow sigh echoed back to Elara's soft steps. The crystal itself, meant to shimmer with inner light, was muted, its facets clouded like ancient, unpolished jewels. The whispering fox paused, its head tilted, listening. Elara followed its gaze to a small whimpering creature trapped within a tangle of dull thorned vines. A glade sprite, its wings, usually iridescent and quick, now limp and translucent. Its tiny form flickered weakly, struggling to escape the suffocating grip of the starved flora. It's lost its light, Elara murmured, her heart aching. The glade sprite relied on the Ethereum's vibrant energy to sustain its form. Without the symphony, the natural magic of the spires was dwindling, causing life to wither. Carefully, Elara approached, extending her hand. The sprite flinched, fear in its tiny, luminous eyes. "It's all right," she whispered, her voice soft as the dawn. She gently touched the lullaby chime. A single pure note, resonant and sweet, rippled outwards. It wasn't loud, but it carried an undeniable clarity, a promise of harmony. The note seemed to hum against the vines, making them vibrate faintly. The glade sprite stilled, its whimpering fading into a soft sigh. Elara reached out, her fingers brushing the dull thorns. To her surprise, the vines didn't prick her. Instead, they felt strangely brittle, as if longing for moisture, for life. She focused, channeling the pure intent of the lullaby chime into her touch, imagining the vibrant flow of Ethereum sap through the wood. A faint, almost imperceptible shimmer passed over the vines. With a gentle pull, Elara found they yielded, their grip loosening. She carefully unwound the thorny tendrils from the glade sprite's delicate wings and body. As the sprite was freed, it hovered uncertainly, its light still dim. Elara offered it a small glowing seed she always carried, a gift from Lyra, imbued with a touch of enduring magic. The sprite tentatively took it, and as it did, a spark of its former brilliance returned. With a tiny, grateful chirp, it darted away, its wings now beating with a renewed, if fragile, strength. The whispering fox nudged Elara's hand again, a silent commendation. Elara smiled, a sense of purpose solidifying within her. The chime wasn't just a key, it was a conduit for healing, a reminder of the Ethereum's inherent harmony. Their journey continued, leading them to the shifting mists, a realm of perpetually swirling luminescent clouds that once held ancient prophecies and dreams. Now the mists were heavy and sluggish, their light barely penetrating the gloom. They were known for their sentient nature, guiding travelers or confounding them based on the Ethereum's mood. Today they offered only a weary resistance. The path here was treacherous, disappearing and reappearing as the mists thickened and thinned. The whispering fox, however, moved with an uncanny certainty, its paws seeming to glide over unseen surfaces. Elara followed, her hand outstretched, feeling the cold, damp tendrils of mist brush against her skin. The lullaby chime, nestled against her chest, began to emit a soft, continuous hum, a steady, unwavering note amidst the disorienting swirls. She realized the chime wasn't just singing, it was sensing. It was attuned to the underlying resonant pathways of the Ethereum, the energetic ley lines that crisscross the spires. These pathways, though weakened, still existed, faint pulses beneath the fading magic. The chime was guiding her, showing her where the true stable path lay, even when her eyes could not see it. As they navigated the shifting mists, Elara encountered other creatures in distress. A cloud weaver, its silken threads meant to catch starlight and weave luminous tapestries, now struggled to produce even a dull strand. A moon moth, its wings designed to reflect the lunar glow, fluttered listlessly, its scales faded. To each, Elara offered a touch, a focused intention through the lullaby chime, a small, pure note of encouragement that seemed to awaken a spark within them. She wasn't restoring the full symphony, but she was reminding them of its existence, of the magic that still lay dormant within their very beings. Higher they climbed, passing through the whispering canyons, where the wind once carried the ancient tales of the Ethereum, now only a mournful sigh. Then came the sunstone terraces, once glittering with collected solar energy, now dull and cool beneath her touch. Each step reinforced the urgency of her mission. The Ethereum was not merely faded, it was slowly, painfully, dying. Finally, after what felt like an age of climbing through silent majesty and quiet sorrow, they reached the threshold of the higher spires. The air here was thinner, crisper, imbued with a faint tingling energy that hinted at the potent magic that once thrived. Before them lay a vast ethereal expanse, a bridge of solidified starlight that arced across an impossibly deep chasm, connecting them to the very pinnacle of the Ethereum, the celestial spire. Even from a distance, the celestial spire was breathtaking. It rose above all others, a colossal needle of pure shimmering Ethereum crystal, piercing the heavens. Its surface was covered in intricate carvings that seemed to shift and dance with unseen energies, depicting constellations and ancient symbols of cosmic harmony. But like the rest of the Ethereum, its brilliance was dimmed. Instead of a vibrant beacon, it was a magnificent, yet sorrowful monument to a bygone era, its light a mere whisper of its former glory. The whispering fox paused at the edge of the starlight bridge, its luminous tail twitching. Its usually soft-focused eyes were now sharp, scanning the shimmering expanse. Elara felt a tremor of apprehension. This was the heart of the Ethereum, and it would not yield its secrets easily. As they stepped onto the starlight bridge, the ground beneath their feet hummed with a low, resonant frequency. It wasn't the lullaby chime, it was the bridge itself, a remnant of a more vibrant time. With each step, faint motes of starlight sparked into existence, only to fade almost immediately. The bridge was vast, stretching for what felt like miles, suspended over a swirling vortex of deep indigo Ethereum mist. Halfway across, the bridge began to undulate, and strange, luminous patterns flared across its surface. They weren't static, they were moving, twisting, like complex equations of light. Elara realized these were not mere decorations, but ancient wards, dormant sentinels of the celestial spire, awakening as she approached. The air grew heavy, thick with a palpable sense of inquiry. A low, harmonious chord, barely audible, thrummed through the starlight bridge, resonating through Elara's very bones. It was a question, she realized, a test. Who are you? What is your intent? Ishi yourself. Kaishi. The whispering fox looked up at her, its eyes conveying a clear message. Answer with your heart. Ianawi. Can see why. Elara closed her eyes, clutching the lullaby chime. She focused on the single note, the pure, unwavering melody that had guided her thus far. She let it expand within her, not as a sound but as an intention, harmony, restoration, healing. She thought of Lyra's unwavering hope, of the dying glade sprite, of the silent spires. She opened her mouth and began to hum, a soft ethereal tune that blended with the chime's subtle song. It was not a complex melody, but a simple, heartfelt expression of her purpose. The luminous patterns on the starlight bridge shifted, their frantic dance slowing, becoming more deliberate, more beautiful. The harmonic chords softened, no longer a question, but a gentle embrace. The bridge stabilized, its shimmering surface welcoming their passage. The ancient wards had accepted her. As they finally stepped off the starlight bridge, they found themselves on a vast, circular plaza at the base of the celestial spire. The air here vibrated with an incredible stillness, a profound silence that seemed to absorb all sound. The plaza was paved with polished obsidian that reflected the muted starlight like a dark mirror. At its center, a monumental archway, intricately carved with swirling celestial patterns, marked the entrance to the spire itself. The archway pulsed faintly with a deep, indigo light, the only source of active illumination in this otherwise somber space. As Elara approached, she felt a subtle pull, a magnetic draw emanating from within the spire. This was it. The interior of the celestial spire was unlike anything she had ever imagined. It was a cavernous space, impossibly tall, stretching upwards into a dim, star-dusted vault. The walls were not carved stone but rather living ethereum crystal, deep sapphire at the base, gradually lightening to a translucent violet as it ascended. Faint vines of gold and silver pulsed within the crystal, like dormant arteries of light. At the very center of this grand chamber stood the great resonator. It was colossal, easily 3 times Elara's height, a magnificent sculpture of interconnected crystalline forms. It was not a single object, but a complex array of shimmering, multifaceted crystals, each one unique in shape and size, yet all harmoniously arranged around a central core. The core itself was a massive, perfectly spherical orb of pure, unblemished ethereum, radiating a faint, almost imperceptible warmth. It was dormant, silent, yet even in its slumber, it radiated an immense power, a palpable sense of latent energy. Elara walked around it, her fingers tracing the smooth, cool surface of its outer crystals. Each facet seemed to hold a memory of light, a whisper of a forgotten chord. This was the heart of the ethereum, the grand instrument that once orchestrated the symphony of life, light, and magic throughout the spires. The whispering fox sat patiently beside her, its gaze fixed on the resonator, its tail still. "How do I rekindle it?" Elara whispered, her voice feeling impossibly small in the vast chamber. Lyra's words echoed in her mind. "It is not a matter of force but of harmony. The lullaby chime holds the first note, the purest tone. It will awaken the resonant chords." Elara drew the lullaby chime from her neck. It felt heavier now, imbued with the weight of her journey and the hope of an entire world. She held it before her, its single, pure note still vibrating faintly. She took a deep breath, letting it fill her lungs, steady her heart. She closed her eyes, visualizing the interconnectedness of all things, the intricate dance of magic and light that the ethereum once was. She thought of the gentle touch that freed the glade sprite, the hum that guided her through the mists, the heartfelt melody that opened the starlight bridge. It wasn't about playing a grand overture. It was about finding the fundamental frequency, the core vibration that would awaken the resonator. With a focused intention, Elara lifted the lullaby chime. The single note, usually so soft, now resonated with unexpected power, filling the vast chamber. It was a note of such purity, such perfect harmony, that it seemed to shimmer in the air, visible as a delicate wave of golden light. As the note reached the great resonator, a subtle tremor ran through its colossal form. The massive central orb began to glow, faintly at first, then with a slow, steady pulse, like a heartbeat awakening after a long slumber. The golden light from the chime seemed to sink into the orb, absorbed into its very core. Elara kept the chime steady, her arm unwavering. She focused all her intent, all her hope, into that single pure note. She imagined it as a seed of starlight, planted deep within the heart of the ethereum. The note vibrated, expanded, seeking out the dormant resonant pathways within the resonator's intricate crystalline structure. Slowly, tentatively, the surrounding crystals of the great resonator began to respond. Faint lines of light, like intricate circuitry, glowed into existence within their depths. A low hum, deeper and more profound than any sound Elara had ever heard, began to emanate from the resonator. It was a sound that resonated not just in her ears, but in her very soul, a primal chord of creation. The hum grew, gathering strength, becoming a magnificent, multi-layered drone. The individual crystals of the resonator started to chime, each adding its own unique tone to the swelling harmony. Sapphire crystals sang with deep, resonant bass notes. Emerald crystals vibrated with bright, shimmering trebles. Amethyst crystals chimed with rich, velvety mid-tones. It wasn't a cacophony, but a perfectly orchestrated ensemble, each note finding its rightful place in a growing, majestic chord. The central orb pulsed brighter, its light expanding, touching the walls of the celestial spire. The golden and silver veins within the ethereum crystal walls began to glow, flowing with renewed energy, like blood through ancient vessels. The entire chamber began to hum, a symphony of light and sound building around Elara. She felt a connection, a profound intertwining with the resonator, with the chime, with the very essence of the ethereum. It was as if she were not just playing an instrument, but becoming a part of the symphony itself, a conduit for its reawakening. The single note from the lullaby chime was no longer just a note. It was the conductor, the heart of the rising melody. The whispering fox, which had been sitting quietly, now stood, its luminous fur shimmering with the increasing light. It let out a soft, joyful bark, a sound Elara had never heard from it before, a sound of pure delight. Then, with a final magnificent crescendo, the great resonator fully awakened. A wave of pure incandescent light, born from the heart of the central orb, burst outwards, not with destructive force, but with a gentle, loving embrace. It wasn't just light. It was the symphony. It was a torrent of vibrant, shimmering energy, a cascade of crystalline melodies and harmonious chords that surged through the celestial spire, filling every corner, every hidden crevice. The light and sound streamed outwards from the celestial spire, a dazzling beacon piercing through the faded gloom of the ethereum. It flowed down the starlight bridge, igniting it with a blinding, joyous brilliance. It surged through the shifting mists, dissolving their sluggishness, making them dance with iridescent vitality. It poured into the whispering canyons, filling them with the resonant echoes of ancient tales. It bathed the sunstone terraces, causing them to glow with a warmth that had been absent for centuries. Elara watched, tears streaming down her face, tears of awe and profound relief. The sight was breathtaking. The entire ethereum spires, one by one, began to light up, like a string of slumbering jewels awakening to the dawn. The fading groves, which had been so desolate, now pulsed with a soft green light. New leaves unfurled, imbued with a vibrant ethereal glow. Light flowers blossomed in a riot of color, their petals shimmering with liquid starlight. The ethereum sap began to flow once more, a golden river of life circulating through the ancient trees. The echoing peaks resonated with crystal-clear chimes, their facets refracting the newfound light into 1,000 dazzling rainbows. The glade sprites, cloud weavers, and moon moths, wherever they were, felt the surge of renewed magic. Their lights flared, their wings beat with renewed vigor, their songs filling the air with joyful trills. Life, vibrant and radiant, was flowing back into the ethereum. The symphony was not merely sound, it was the very essence of the ethereum, the cosmic harmony that powered its magic, sustained its life, and shaped its reality. It was a symphony of light, of color, of energy, of vibrant life. It was the song of creation, played anew. Elara felt the immense power flow through her, connecting her to every spire, every creature, every shimmering leaf. She was exhausted, drained of all personal energy, yet simultaneously filled with an indescribable sense of fulfillment and peace. The lullaby chime, still in her hand, pulsed gently, its single note now woven seamlessly into the grand cosmic orchestra. She sank to her knees, the vast chamber of the celestial spire bathed in the glorious light of the rekindled resonator. The whispering fox nudged her, its soft fur a comforting presence. She looked at it, and for the first time she felt she truly understood its silent messages. It was a guardian, a companion, a spirit of the ethereum, now vibrant with renewed life. A gentle ethereal voice, clear as the chime itself, resonated in her mind, though no sound passed through the air. "You have done it, Elara. You have rekindled the symphony." It was Lyra's voice, filled with an ancient joy and profound gratitude. "The song of the ethereum sings once more, thanks to your pure heart and unwavering hope. The balance is restored." Elara closed her eyes, letting the symphony wash over her, cleansing her spirit, filling her with a quiet, enduring strength. She was no longer just the keeper of a single chime. She was the catalyst for the ethereum's rebirth, a conduit of its harmony. As the days turned into nights, and then into weeks, the ethereum continued its glorious rejuvenation. The celestial spire pulsed steadily, a radiant heart at the center of a newly vibrant world. Travelers from distant realms, drawn by the renewed magic, began to whisper of the Ethereum's awakening, of the brilliant light that now shone from its highest peak. Elara remained in the celestial spire for a time, observing the symphony's magnificent work, ensuring its steady flow. She learned to listen to the resonant chords, to understand the subtle shifts in the Ethereum's moods, to feel its pulse as if it were her own. The lullaby chime became an extension of her being, a constant reminder of the profound power of a single, pure note. Eventually, her heart called her back to the lower spires, to the fading grove that was now vibrant and teeming with life. Lyra greeted her with a smile that held all the wisdom of the ages, and all the joy of a dream fulfilled. The cottage, once nestled in quiet despair, now hummed with renewed magic, its walls glowing softly in the perpetual twilight of the lower spires. Elara no longer felt like a mere keeper. She was a guardian, a harmonizer, a living embodiment of the Ethereum's renewed song. She walked among the reawakened light flowers, their petals now unfurling in brilliant displays of color and soft luminescence. She listened to the joyful chirps of the glade sprites, their wings iridescent and strong, darting through the vibrant foliage. The whispering fox, now more playful and energetic, often curled at her feet, its luminous tail a gentle warmth. It no longer merely whispered encouragement. Sometimes, Elara felt it sharing small, joyful moments of connection, glimpses into the revitalized spirit of the Ethereum. The symphony of the Ethereum spires now played continuously, a breathtaking chorus of light, sound, and magic. It wasn't a loud, overwhelming noise, but a gentle, pervasive hum that infused every leaf, every crystal, every breath of air. It was the soft rustle of starlight leaves, the gentle chime of crystal formations, the harmonious hum of flowing Ethereum sap, all woven together into a living, breathing melody. And at its heart, a single pure note from the lullaby chime continued its gentle, unwavering song, a promise that the melody, though once faded, was now forever renewed, and that the symphony would play on, echoing through the peaceful, magical night. Elara, the quiet keeper, had become the living heart of the Ethereum's song, ensuring that its lullaby would continue to soothe and sustain the world for all time. She smiled, a profound peace settling over her, as she listened to the endless, beautiful music of the spires, knowing that all was finally in harmony.